So I think everybody knows me, but for the heck of it, I'm Michael Scharf. I'm the co-dean of the law school. You'll be hearing from co-dean Jessica Berg, who's sitting right there, in a minute. Very happy to welcome everybody, and I just have to go off script for a second to say, how about those Guardians? That was amazing. So, in past years, the playoffs have corresponded with this event, and we've had to rent a big screen and show it while we were doing this. We actually have the biggest screen ever now, but we didn't need it. All right, well, welcome and thank you for joining us as we celebrate all of you at our 6th annual Alumni and Faculty Dinner. Dean Berg and I are so pleased to have all of you here with us this evening for this wonderful occasion. Now, please enjoy your dinners as we continue our program. So this is one of those programs where you eat and we talk. All right. We have a remarkable group of alumni award recipients who you're going to be hearing from and meeting later this evening. But first, we have some special guests with us tonight. Our university president, Eric Kaler, and his wife, Karen Kaler. So. For many of you, this is your first time meeting our wonderful new president, so let me tell you a little bit about his background. President Kaler is a chemical engineer whose career spans more than 40 years in leadership roles at top-tier public research universities, most recently as president of the University of Minnesota. He holds 10 patents, and he has published more than 200 peer-reviewed papers. A first-generation college student, he received his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering from the California Institute of Technology, and he earned his PhD in chemical engineering from University of Minnesota. We welcomed him to Case Western Reserve University in 2021, and it is my pleasure to introduce you to the 11th president of Case Western Reserve University, Eric W. Kaler.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, both deans. You know, I'll start with a little story, and I will be brief, but when I first came as president, someone approached me and said that the deans of the law school would like to meet you and talk about the virtues of the co-dean position, the virtues of the co-dean position. I thought this would be one of the shortest meetings I would schedule for the year. And I'm not above telling you I was wrong. You are gifted with two individuals who work together seamlessly. They carry 60% of the load, and if each of a team carries 60% of the load gets a lot lighter. They're terrific representatives of you to the university, and I'm so grateful for their job and their good work. So thank both of you for what you do. And if you're paying close attention, you can tell that I obviously think it's such a good idea that we now have co-deans in the Weatherhead School of Management. So not only am I not afraid to say I was wrong, I admit learning from other models. We're gathered together in a room full of lawyers. So I asked the deans whether or not I should start off my comments with a lawyer joke. And they hemmed and hawed, and eventually they said, the problem is that I could, but there are only one or two really good lawyer jokes out there. The rest of them are all true stories, so I'm not going to tell that. But my wife Karen and I are delighted to be here and celebrate the event, the alumni gathering, and the award winners. Congratulations to those folks. And I want to thank the alumni who've come back to reconnect and to celebrate one another, and I thank our faculty and staff who are truly, truly committed to the success of our law school and its students. And no mention of gratitude is complete without noting that Dean Berg and Dean Scharf are now in their 10th year as co-deans. And under their leadership, the School of Law has launched the Burke Center for Environmental Law, the Financial Integrity Institute, the Spangenberg Center for Law, Technology, and the Arts. They've initiated innovative clinics focused on the First Amendment. That's pretty important. Human trafficking, immigration, and a second chance reentry clinic that assists those who are returning to society from incarceration. And Dean Berg and Dean Scharf have also made comprehensive curricular changes that led to their recognition by the U.S. News and World Report as one of the 5 most innovative law schools in the country and a top ranking by Pre-Law Magazine for practical education. And in terms of our facilities, both Ben's Place, where we had our reception, and where we are right now have been updated and improved thanks to the generosity of our supporters and grants. They've also updated or renovated the IP Venture Clinic, the Elk Experiential Education Classroom, the cafe, the moot courtroom, and all the classrooms. I actually don't know what's left, although I'm sure you will tell me. Our School of Law faculty appear regularly as experts in national news stories, providing perspectives on the day's top issues. And this fall, the deans have launched the Academy for Inclusive Leadership Development, a program designed for current legal and business professionals and students so they are prepared for roles that seek to strengthen the organization's DEI efforts. And on a lighter note, this is really important. Just last month, the law school's softball team finished first, number 1, in the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association Summer Softball League. That is an applause line if I've ever seen one, so thank you. So clearly, there are a lot of really wonderfully good things happening here at the School of Law, so thank you to the deans for your continued leadership. Tonight, I also want to recognize Mark Weinberger, the recipient of this year's Centennial Medal. I know there will be a more formal introduction of Mark later in the program, but for those of you who don't know Mark, he's a member of our Board of Trustees, therefore one of my bosses. He's an alumnus of the law school, and he's the former global chairman and CEO of EY. He's been a great supporter of our university and our School of Law. So Mark, thank you for your generosity and for your service on the Board of Trustees. I can't think of anyone more deserving of the honor you will receive this evening. So again, thank you all for the opportunity to be here with you, and congratulations to all of our award winners. And now I will turn things over to Eric Lavasser. Eric?
Thank you, President Kaler, and thank you, everyone, for joining us this evening at the Law Alumni Association Board's signature event every year, the Law Alumni Faculty Dinner. My name is Eric Lavasser. I am the president of the Law Alumni Association Board of Directors, and on behalf of the board, I would like to extend a warm welcome to each and every one of you. Certainly, as the dean said, a nice way to cap off the day after a nice victory earlier today. So I should point out that this evening's event would not be possible without the ongoing generosity of our law firm supporters. We would like to thank the following firms. Please hold your applause until all firms' names are read. Baker and Hostetler, led by Cleveland Managing Partner Matthew Tenarowitz. Calfee, led by Managing Partner Brent Ballard, class of 1985. Elk & Elk, led by Managing Partners Arthur Elk and James Kelly. Han Lozier and Parks, led by Managing Partner Stanley Gorham. Jones Day, led by Cleveland Partner in Charge John Sada, class of 1993. Tucker & Ellis, led by Managing Partner Joseph Morford. Ulmer & Byrne, led by Managing Partner Scott Kadish, and Voorhees, Sater, Seymour & Pease, led by Cleveland Managing Partner Brian Falk, class of 1997. Please join me in a round of applause for all of our sponsors. In addition to our generous supporters, the law school would not be where it is today without the dedication of our excellent faculty and staff. I would like to offer a sincere thank you to all of the faculty and staff from the law school that were able to be with us here this evening. And I would ask that all of them please now stand to be recognized. One of the reasons we are celebrating this evening is to recognize our reunion year classes, those ending in 2 and 7. And I'll go off script for a second and say it's very nice to see so many from the class of 2002 here this evening. We got a heck of a nice showing. Many of the alumni here this evening volunteered their time in advance of this evening and served on the reunion advisory committees, and I would like to express our appreciation for their work as well. The philanthropic support of our alumni and friends is instrumental to the law school and ensures our ability to continue to provide first-rate educational and professional opportunities for our students. Collectively, we raised more than $1.1 million this year in support of the Law School Annual Fund for fiscal year 2022. Much of that support was provided by many of you here in the room this evening, and for that, we say thank you. As a member of the Law Alumni Association Board, I have had the opportunity to actively engage in the board's mission to assist with student recruitment, mentoring, and placement, strengthen alumni engagement, and support the law school both publicly and financially. The work is very fulfilling, and if you are interested in becoming involved, by all means, please contact the Alumni Relations and Development Department, or whose information is listed on the back of your programs this evening, or by all means, please reach out to a current board member. We welcome your participation. In addition to dedicating their time and talents throughout the year to the law school and its students, many of my fellow board members are here this evening, and I want to personally thank each and every one of them for everything they do for our law school. I would invite all current board members present this evening to please stand and be recognized as we thank you for your service. The board's primary purpose is to represent the Law Alumni Association and its more than 12,000 members across the country, which includes all alumni in the room this evening. Tonight serves as the annual meeting of the association and provides us with an opportunity to elect and welcome new members to the Law Alumni Association Board. Please continue to enjoy your dinner as we will now begin the business portion of tonight's program by electing our new and renewing our current board members. We have 6 outstanding new board member candidates for your approval tonight. Additionally, there are 7 current board members who have chosen to renew their terms for another 3 years. I am happy to share the results with you today and believe that they will meet with your approval. I ask new board member candidates who are here this evening and who have been nominated to serve a term of 3 years, expiring in 2025, to please stand as their names are called. And again, please hold your applause until the end. Ahmed Abanama, class of 2008, Chief Financial Officer and Director of Finance for the City of Cleveland. Myra Barsom Stockett, class of 1999, a member of Reminger's Management Group, co-chair of the Insurance Coverage and Bad Faith Practice Group, and leader in the Workers' Compensation Practice Group. Morgan Curse, class of 2015 of New York, New York, Vice President and Senior Corporate Counsel at Kroll. Mark McHale, class of 2013, Associate at Schneider Smelts, Spieth and Bell. Stephen Schlegelmilch, class of 2000 of Washington, D.C., and counsel at Debevoise and Plimpton. And finally, and I know he's here because I saw him earlier, our 3L student representative, Mr. Gabe Kaufman. I would now like to ask the renewing board member candidates who are here this evening and who have been nominated to serve a second term of 3 years, expiring in 2025, to please stand as their names are called. Please hold your applause until the end. David Kupar, class of 1999, a member and chair of the Intellectual Property Department at McDonald Hopkins. Kupar, you gotta wait till the end. I just told everybody. Come on. Heather Doherty, class of 2011 of Washington, D.C., and Trade Compliance Counsel and Director of Nidec Motor Corporation. Margaret Maggie Grover, class of 1983 of Oakland, California. She's a mediator, investigator, and counselor at Grover Workplace Solutions. Thomas Mester, class of 1969, and retired senior partner, Nuremberg, Paris, Heller, and McCarthy. James Pash, class of 2010, regional director of the Anti-Defamation League. Judy Steiner, class of 1987, an executive vice president and chief risk counsel or officer at Banner Bank. And finally, Brooke Tyus, class of 2018, and an associate with Porter Wright, Morris, and Arthur. I am honored to present these candidates to you and request a voice vote to confirm their election. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Easy enough. Thank you very much, and please join me in welcoming the new members of the Law Alumni Association Board. I would also like to thank those board members whose terms have expired this year for their dedicated service. Their names are listed on the screen, or should be. First, Matthew Albers, class of 2000. David Drexler, class of 1989. Kelly Grigsby, class of 1995. Matthew Spader, class of 2007. Benjamin Stahlberg, class of 2007. On behalf of the board, I'd like to thank all of our departing members for their many years of dedicated service to the law school. Finally, the nominating committee has advanced a slate of new officers for your consideration, each of whom will serve a term of 2 years, expiring in 2024. They are Nicole Braden Lewis, class of 2001, as president. Nicole is a partner in the litigation group at Tucker Ellis. Matthew O'Connell, class of 1983, as vice president. Matt is a shareholder at Sutter O'Connell. And Rhonda Baker DeBevick, class of 1997, as secretary treasurer. Rhonda is a principal with the DeBevick Law Firm. I am proud to present this group to you and know that they will serve as great representatives for our alumni and our law school. We will now proceed with a voice vote to confirm their appointment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those in favor? Easy enough. Again, thank you, and please join me in welcoming our new officers. Finally, on a personal note, this will be my final meeting presiding as president of the Law Alumni Association Board of Directors. It's got to end sometime. I just want to say it has truly been an honor to serve as president the past 3 years with such a truly phenomenal board and to work with so many truly phenomenal people at the law school. It really is a special group, and sort of getting a glimpse behind the scenes has shown me what a truly special institution this law school is. I know I've always been very proud to say that I'm a graduate of this law school, and I certainly hope and trust that you all are as well. A few thank yous before I walk off the stage. First, to my fellow alumni with whom I've served on the board the past few years, thank you for your time, your commitment, your patience, and certainly your humor. It's been a great group to work with. I'd also like to recognize my predecessors in this role, George Mascarino, who unfortunately could not be with us here tonight, and George's predecessor, Joan Gross, who assured me she would not miss this evening. Joan is my partner at Hahn Lozier. Joan is an absolute force of nature. For those that don't know her, Joan was instrumental in getting me involved with the alumni board many years ago. And Joan, I can't thank you enough for volunteering me that I would be doing this. So thank you, Joan. I also wanted to recognize another individual that couldn't be with us this evening, Tony O'Malley of the Voorhees firm. Tony was actually supposed to be serving as president this year. However, in light of COVID and things getting a little crazy, Tony had recommended that I stay on for one more year and voluntarily stepped aside. So Tony, wherever you are this evening, thank you. Dean Scharf, Dean Berg, thank you so much for your time, all your wisdom over the past couple of years. And last but certainly not least, the development and alumni relations staff here at the law school. Ardo Woodley, Eric Silverman, Angela Zubko, Cheryl Lauderdale, John Corey, and particularly someone that is no longer with us but was instrumental and very helpful as I did this job, Kate Davis. I'd ask that everyone please take a moment to recognize that group. And with that, I'm very happy to sit down, and I'm very confident and happy that I'm leaving this group in such good hands with our next president, Nicole Braden Lewis. Congratulations, Nicole. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. On behalf of the law school, I'd like to share my appreciation for your long-standing service as a board member and an officer as you step down as president this evening. The loyalty, commitment, and enthusiasm you have demonstrated over the years make us extremely grateful to have had you as an alumni leader. Eric has been actively involved with the Law Alumni Association over the course of 7 years. During his tenure on the board, he was not only a member, but served in each of the officer roles, including treasurer, vice president, and president. He has been instrumental in creating a more active and engaged board through encouraging attendance at meetings and creating a strategic vision for the board. He has tirelessly mentored students and young alumni. We wish him the very best in moving forward, and he will be receiving a resolution this evening as a token of our appreciation for his long service on the board. Please join me in thanking Eric and all of the outgoing board members for their service.
All right, this part is called the Dean's Update. Now, some of the speakers have already mentioned some of these things, so we apologize for being repetitive, but as we all know as professors, sometimes it's good to repeat things so that they really stick. So let me begin we'll begin the awards presentation in just a few minutes, but first, let's share some exciting news about the law school.
So as mentioned, we have now served as co-deans for 9 years. We are in our 10th year. We are among the longest serving law deans in the country. As you noted, it did obviously work well enough here that President Kaler decided to appoint co-deans for the Weatherhead School of Business. And we have emerged from times of COVID as a stronger law school.
So as Eric mentioned, and this is Eric Levasseur, our annual fund brought in $1.1 million this year, and we have actually raised a total of $9 million in attainment in the last 12 months. That brings our total fundraising since 2013 to $61 million, and our endowment is now $127 million, 32nd largest of any law school in the country. Now, the great thing about raising all that money, and that's all from the generosity of our alums and friends, is that it has enabled us to recruit and retain star faculty and enroll students with stronger and stronger credentials. And we do have a number of students here this evening. Can I ask them to stand up as well? So if you're a student, stand up.
So our entering JD class this fall has 156 students. Their median LSAT was a 160, and their median GPA a 3.68. These are among the highest medians in the law school's history. It is also the most diverse class in our history, with 23% coming from underrepresented minority groups. This was aided in part by our new Summer Jumpstart program, which had 35 students in it.
Our employment numbers are also the highest that they've been in many years, at 94%, 10 months after graduation. You wish it was 10 minutes, right? We've also had the top bar pass rate in Ohio 3 of the past 5 years, and we're crossing our fingers that this will be another banner year as the results start to trickle in later this month.
We've garnered some amazing national accolades. Pre-Law Magazine, as noted, ranks us number 5 in practical training and a top school with an A grade in 12 specialty programs. U.S. News & World Report ranks us number 13 in health law, 21 in international law, and 36 in intellectual property law. The SISC study ranks us 36th in faculty scholarly impact. And our moot court and mock trial teams have had such a great year that they were ranked number 4 in the country in overall success.
Meanwhile, the students in our clinics have won a series of high-profile cases, and our students and professors have submitted amicus briefs to the U.S. Supreme Court and the Appeals Chamber of the International Criminal Court in The Hague.
Our alums have also had some amazing success this year. Among the highlights from this extraordinary group are Fred Gray from the class of 1954, who was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom, Justin Bibb, class of 2018, yes, that is 2018, who was elected mayor of Cleveland, and Charles Fleming, class of 1990, and Bridget Brennan, class of 2000, who were appointed the country's newest federal judges.
Under the leadership of alumni Mark Weinberger, class of 1987, who you'll be hearing from in a few minutes, and John Majoris, class of 1986, we are launching a $20 million scholarship drive to raise transformational funding for the law school and its students. This is the most ambitious scholarship fundraising initiative in the history of our law school. We hope that you will help in aiding this effort, and this effort, we hope, will propel the law school to ever greater heights. Now, tonight's event provides the opportunity to recognize the outstanding accomplishments of our alumni and faculty through the distribution of our alumni awards. The first award is named in honor of past Alumni Association Board President Joan Gross, class of 1976, who I see sitting right there. Thank you for coming today, Joan. She has been an extraordinary leader for the law school, particularly related to its vital annual fund. This recognition is awarded to a member of the Alumni Association at large who best exemplify the following award criteria: is an advocate of the law school's annual fund, fosters a culture of philanthropy for the law school, volunteers with the law school's annual giving or development office, and is a current donor to the annual fund. So with all that said, it is my pleasure to announce the recipient of the Joan Gross Class of 76 Annual Fund Award. This year, it's William Paddock, Class of 1969. There he is. Bill received his JD, Order of the Coif Law Review Note Editor, in 1969 and joined Jones Day, where he practiced mergers and acquisitions law for 37 years. He became a partner in 1977 in the Cleveland office and subsequently resident in Austin, Atlanta, Houston, where he retired in the end of 2006. Bill has maintained a strong relationship with the law school over the years. He's a member of the Society of Benchers. He has volunteered as an admissions counselor and a career counselor. Bill is exactly the kind of annual fund donor and alumnus that we are proud to have as part of our alumni community. He has supported the Law School Annual Fund since 1975, starting with small but vital gifts. He has continued to donate every year, and he has established the William S. Paddock Endowment Fund in 1996. We are so grateful to Bill, and we are pleased to present this award to him. Unfortunately, he was unable to join us this evening, but please join me in congratulating Bill as we watch this thank you video that he has provided us on the screen behind.
Hi, everyone. Reunioning in Cleveland. This is Bill Paddock here. I'm sorry I couldn't make it up there in person, so I'm zooming in from Houston to accept this year's Joan Gross Award for the annual law school giving. But why did I give money to the law school? Well, my 3 years at the law school from 1966 to 69 were an amazing learning experience. 1966 was a banner year for the school. We got a new dean. Lou Tepfer arrived from Harvard and brought in a stellar group of new faculty that included Lou Katz, Ron Corfey, Leon Gabinet, Dick Robbins, Ovid Lewis, and others. It was an amazing, amazing crew. I got totally into it. I studied a lot. I got good grades. I got on the law review. I got a job at Jones Day. I made partner at Jones Day, and I practiced with that great firm for 37 years. And I owed all to the law school, so I just have to give back. But Western Reserve was not the first choice to law school for me. It was Duke. But Duke wanted me to borrow half the tuition. Now, I had a problem with that because my wife and I had to borrow so much to get both of us through college. We packed up the car and we were intending to get on our way to Durham, North Carolina to go to Duke when we got a letter from the new dean, Tepfer, at the law school at Case Western that offered us a full scholarship. So we reversed everything and we headed to Cleveland and not North Carolina. And as they say, the rest is history. And for that scholarship, I'm forever grateful to the law school for making my legal career possible. And I just want to end and say I wanted to pass on a message to and wish to the class of 1972 a happy 50th law school birthday. We had our 50th reunion about 3 years ago in Cleveland. It was a blast, and I sure hope that you will have a fine reunion too, just like we had. Thank you. Have fun.
I ask all the winners to please come to the stage when their name is called and pose for a photo. The Distinguished Recent Graduate Award is given to someone who exceptionally fulfills one or more of the following criteria: professional accomplishment, significant participation in professional activities, involvement in community activities, and involvement in law alumni affairs. This year's Distinguished Recent Graduate Award goes to Ike Akiki, class of 2016. As Ike comes up, let me tell you a little bit about this wonderful recent graduate. For the first 2.5 years of his law career, Ike worked in the Juvenile Division and General Felony Unit in the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. While working as an assistant prosecuting attorney, he began coaching, and he still coaches the CWRU Law School's Black Law Student Association mock trial team. That team earned third place in both regionals and nationals in 2019. Ike returned to the law school in the fall of 2019 as a fellow, serving as a staff attorney and instructor in the criminal law clinic. He began working as a citizen complaint authority investigator for the city of Cincinnati in November of 2020. That same year, he was selected to the National Black Lawyers Organization's top 40 under 40 black lawyers in Ohio. Ike recently received admission to practice law in the state of Georgia. He graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Engineering and Industrial Engineering and a Master's of Science in Engineering and an Engineering Management degree from Mercer University of Macomb, Georgia. So, President Kaler, someone cut from your same mold. Ike's classmate, Nathan Nasrallah, nominated Ike for this award and had this to say, quote, "In the wake of the George Floyd killing, Ike encouraged his students to use their developing legal skills to find a way to help. I witnessed firsthand that Ike made considerable and a meaningful impact on his students, and he set an excellent example for them." Please, everybody, join me now in welcoming and congratulating the 2022 Distinguished Recent Graduate Award winner, Ike Akiki. Please come to the stage.
Time for remarks, right? All right, so just want to say thank you, Dean Sharp, Dean Berg. Special thanks to my first lead professor, Katie Mercer. Don't mean to put you on the spot. My advisor, Laura McNally, who's now Dean of the clinic. Professor Hardaway, who took me in as a fellow. So many more people to thank. Again, I'm very humbled by this. I did not know that Case gave Distinguished Alumni Awards. There was so many alums who've done great things at Case. I didn't know y'all picked one, so that was very humbling to hear that. And also thank you to Nate Nasrallah, who's great in his own right, that he nominated me, so I'm not sure how he thought of that, but thank you to who all voted. I'm not sure how this is decided upon, but thank you again for that. So I hope you all enjoy your rest of your night, and again, thank you all for being here. Thank you.
Okay. All right, congratulations, Ike. I will now be presenting the Distinguished Teacher Award, which recognizes a full-time adjunct or visiting member of the faculty whose commitment to education and the pursuit of knowledge has enriched the personal and professional lives of students. The recipient of this award should be a communicator, a motivator, a scholar, a model, and an influence as a teacher whose personal and intellectual qualities have left their mark on our students. This year's Distinguished Teacher Award goes to Professor Kevin McMonagle. As Kevin comes up, I'll tell you a little bit about him. Professor McMonagle teaches criminal law, evidence, and professional responsibility. He has held visiting appointments at the University of California, Hastings, Loyola Law School in Los Angeles, and Universidad Francisco Marroquín in Guatemala. Professor McMonagle is currently guest editing a symposium issue of the Ohio State Journal of Criminal Law on the ethics of client counseling. He is a contributing editor of the American Bar Association's Criminal Justice Sections magazine, Criminal Justice. Professor McMonagle joined the faculty after serving as an assistant United States attorney in California. Earlier, he clerked for U.S. District Judge William H. Orrick, and he practiced with Heller, Ehrman, White, and McAuliffe in San Francisco. Professor McMonagle was nominated by Bonnie McNee, a board member from the class of 2017, who I believe is right over there. And please now join me in welcoming Professor McMonagle to the stage.
I was walking to the law school last week, and I walked through Tinkomville, and there was a young man outside with a clipboard, and he asked me if I was there for the career fair. And I said, no, I have got a career. And he said, well, you know, it's never too late to change your mind. I said, no, I've got the greatest job you can have. So I wanted to just say thank you to the law school and to all my former and current students for giving me the opportunity to come to work every day and do something that I really, really enjoy doing. I also wanted to express my gratitude to our former colleague, Leon Gabinet. He was the very first person I met on the case faculty at the hiring conference. And he opened the first door for me to come get into the teaching. And after I walked through that, he continued to be a great role model and friend. So I just wanted to say thanks to him as well. Thank you.
Congratulations, Professor McMoneagle. I now have the honor of presenting the Centennial Medal Award, which was established in 1992 by the Law Alumni Association to recognize exceptional meritorious achievement. It is the highest honor the law school bestows on one of its graduates. This year's Centennial Medal Award goes to Mark Weinberger, class of 1987. Mark has experience leading a global business, working at the highest levels of government, and as an entrepreneur. He has a track record of driving transformative change in the public and private sectors during periods of unprecedented disruption. Mark was the global chairman and CEO of EY, a leading professional services organization with 284,000 people operating in more than 150 countries. He led the organization through a purpose-fueled transformation centered on EY's building a better working world. In addition, he spent considerable time in both government and public service, including as Assistant Secretary of the U.S. Department of the Treasury, Social Security Administration Advisory Board, Strategic and Policy Forum, and Infrastructure Task Force under 3 different presidents of both parties. Mark played an active role in the World Economic Forum as a member of its International Business Council and as a global agenda steward for economic progress. He co-chaired the Russian Foreign Investment Advisory Committee and served as chairman of the International Business Leaders Advisory Council to the mayor of Shanghai. Not one to ignore institutions of higher learning, or perhaps just thinking he had a few extra hours in the day, Mark is a member of the Board of Trustees for Emory University and is one for our own Case Western Reserve University. He is also a member of the advisory board of the Liveris Academy for Innovation and Leadership at the University of Queensland. Please join me in recognizing this amazing alum for his lifetime accomplishments. Since he hasn't slowed down as much as we anticipate there'll be actually more in the future to add to the list. Congratulations, Mark.
Well, thank you. After that introduction, I can't wait to hear what I have to say. That's quite remarkable. Thank you. And it's really a privilege to be here. Ike and Professor McMoneagle, congratulations to you. I'm thrilled to be here with both of you, and I recognize you and all the people who are taking roles in the Alumni Association for what you've done and what you will do. Thank you for that. Incredibly important. It is truly an honor to be here. It's not somewhat surreal. My friends who were with me in law school would absolutely be laughing hysterical if they thought that I would be up here someday, and the faculty would clearly have revolted. There's no doubt about it. You know, we talk, and the story we heard on the video up there was not my story. At the time I applied, I shared this with the president today, and I want to acknowledge the president's great leadership. And Karen, thank you for coming here and really just over the last year in very difficult circumstances doing an absolutely tremendous job. And I really do enjoy working with you on the board. But I didn't have any options. The only school in the United States of America that accepted me to law school and business school at the same time was Case Western Reserve University. Sight unseen, I moved to Cleveland, Ohio, and it set me on a trajectory that I never could have possibly imagined. And I am so appreciative. It's why I do serve on the board. It's why I was privileged to give the commencement address in 2016 to the university. I graduated the business school as well and gotten awards there. Just because I'm old. When you get old, you get more awards, it seems like. But, you know, I'm not even sure when I'm up here or when I'm speaking, you know, why people want to hear what I have to say. My kids would tell you that, but I'll go right to my mother. When I was first elected the chairman and CEO of EY, I grew up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, home of the office, and they called my mom, the Scranton Tribune, and said, your son, Mark, was just elected chairman and CEO of EY. What do you think? And she said, without missing a beat, quote, no one is more surprised than me, end of quote. Needless to say, I didn't tell her about this award because I don't want any more quotes like that. She was always unvarnished in her language, but she swears she didn't say that, but I know she did. But in any event, my dad was never here to see some of these events, but I thank my parents for all of this. So I'm supposed to give you remarks, and I assure you the next hour and a half will fly by. Some nervous laughter. I think I have like 15 minutes or 10 or 15 minutes to go through this. And I'm going to talk about an issue that's really near and dear to me, which is the future of American business, which all of us should care about, and which all of us in this room have an important impact on. We are on the threshold of a major shift in how business conducts itself and how it strengthens its contribution to our communities and all of our stakeholders. It's about leadership and it's about accountability. Today, the business world is going under unprecedented change. Over the past several years, business has managed to navigate a pandemic, a war in Eastern Europe, a growing threat in China, the Great Resignation, climbing now the wall of decades historic levels of inflation, increased concerns about our climate, political instability here at home, and I could go on. It's navigated social unrest and increasing division amongst all stakeholders. It may be why McKinsey, I don't like to cite other consulting firms, but McKinsey did a study, and the average life of a corporation, S&P 500 company now, is 15 years. Used to be 60 back in 1968. And that 75% of the corporations today won't be around 10 years from now. There's lots of reasons for that, but it's getting harder to survive in this world as a business. And the sets of challenges are striking, and they go to the legitimacy of corporate life. These challenges are beyond the economic challenges I mentioned and go to the social, political, and cultural changes we're seeing in this country. The challenges grow out of doubts and distrust about business that go further than I've ever seen in my lifetime. The Edelman Trust Barometer, which is an annual survey of trust and ways what people think about government, universities, press, business, is the lowest level of trust in this country we've ever had. And actually, more young people today favor socialism over communism, socialism and communism over capitalism. We had a very distrustful time in this country, and I think we have to sit up and take notice. Now, I'm a champion of American business. I spent my whole career traversing government and business. I was a CEO, members of lots of different boards. I've been in and out of government. I worked for 4 presidents of 2 different parties. I think it's our responsibility to do so. But I think business has a real responsibility and a critical role in a dynamic and free society. You know, it's an often overlooked fact, but if you look at almost all the healthcare in this country, almost all of the savings plans in this country, all the upskilling of everything you could think of to help our people move out of lower levels of poverty and into higher status in the community, it's driven through businesses. So we have a responsibility. However, we didn't used to have to talk about it. It used to have been a given. Today, modern corporation faces 2 risks that demand a change in the way businesses operate. The first is the fact that corporations are no longer afforded a blind license to operate. Increasingly, NGOs, activists, customers, governments, and even employees are skeptical of the role business plays and the value they create. Social media has become a powerful tool to question and criticize why business exists. Today's citizens are more informed than ever and capable of using their voices to drive social change. And we have numerous and numerous examples of this with employee rebellions, boycotts, proxy voting proposals, financial institutions deciding not to fund some types of industries. Now, I mentioned people across the political and social spectrums are losing trust in business. We've seen this in New York City's rejections of Amazon moving there because they didn't want to have a big corporation come in. But we see it in deep distrust of pharmaceutical companies, energy companies, food companies, and this is a real concern for CEOs, I can tell you. I see this, why is this so important for this room, and why did I choose to talk about it here tonight? Because the legal protections afforded business and the rights it possesses to operate and conduct commerce are born out of laws, and they're created and overseen by politicians. They're not a given. They have to earn that right to become a business. And I should, first of all, say more quickly, I'm a fan of business. But I think there's a lot of the concerns that are really justified. When you look at wages have stagnated, and incomes of CEOs have skyrocketed. When you look at the distrust and cynicism that's out there with some of the big business decisions. The workers, customers, governments, communities all across the world are rightly concerned about what business's role is, and they need to speak up. But that's the first risk. I really think business's right to lead is at risk. The second risk is more practical, and I speak here as a former CEO of a Big Four accounting firm. Measuring how you value a company in the public markets is essential to capitalism, and it underpins our financial markets. Yet it's increasingly hard to do. Back in 1975, 85% of the value of a company was on their balance sheet. So you can look at a financial statement and understand what the company was worth. Today, 80% of the value of a company doesn't sit anywhere on the balance sheet. It's in intangible assets. It's in things like workforce and talents and intellectual property and data and patents and brand of companies. Companies like Google and Apple and Walmart increasingly are defined not by how many assets they have, but what is their intangible benefit and growth. At EY, 99% of the value of our company was our people. Every night they went home and they were volunteering to come back every day and work for us. That was our asset. And institutional investors want to understand, how do we measure and assess this in a world where financial accounting isn't really telling us the right answers anymore? And we've gotten this concept called ESG. Hopefully you've all at least heard the term ESG. It really is, it's environmental, social, and government commitments that companies make. And it's top of mind of many CEOs and boards. And individual institutions want to understand how to determine what that is and how to use it in investment. But they don't know how, because there's no standards today on how to do that. So the two risks, license to operate and ability to measure true value of a company, are marking an inflection point for business and where they need to go. Now there's a path forward, and Marty Lipton, a famous lawyer, has written a lot about this. It's called stakeholder capitalism, and it's the idea that capitalism and ESG are really important, that a business has a defined role to play in society more than just making money. That they have to uphold and keep the institutions around employees and customers and communities alive and good. So we've seen politicians, however, take this concept and push it through in political agendas. We've seen them attack it as woke capitalism, and we've seen others raise it as a way to get social progress through political causes. I was chair of the Tax and Fiscal Policy Committee, the Business Roundtable, when we came up with the stakeholder capitalism principles of purpose and profit. And Mary Barra, the CEO of General Motors, and Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, and Alex Gorski of Johnson & Johnson, myself and two other people put it together, and not a far liberal leaning group by any means, but a group that cares about business and cares about the role we play in society. And we put that out there and got attacked quite heavily by Republicans and Democrats. But it is the only way for long-term sustainable profit and shareholders to continue to focus on what's important and to keep their license to lead. Our employees, our customers, and our communities demand that we explain better the relationship we have with these key stakeholders. I don't have all the answers, obviously. I just urge that we turn the political rhetoric down, we stop weaponizing this concept of ESG that you read about in the newspapers about where to invest and how to invest, and we start to work together to do a better job of explaining our value and our values about what business means. that we recognize that a precondition for sustaining long-term value and capitalism and de-risking a company is to address the externalities that exist. It is about carbon emissions. It is about social unrest. It is about increasing income inequality that we cannot survive as a country if we don't address. All these things are business issues just as much as financial accounting and quarterly profits. Now, if we don't, as business community and lawyers step in, regulators are stepping up, and they're going to do the job for us in ways that we may or may not agree with. As I watch this transition unfold, I believe the path forward is increased transparency and new and updated standards. And I think it's an obligation for every company to be able to talk about the things that they do with their communities, for their employees, in addition to how they make money in the products that we live with. We are seeing this transparency have heightened interest in lots of different reportings. Until recently, there were some 600 or 700 different standards across the world, and nobody knows how to apply them. But we're starting to see breakthroughs and some coming together in the International Sustainability Standards Board across the world. Appropriate transparency will give us the necessary information for all of us to understand what the value of our businesses are. And standards are going to help provide the consistency of reporting. So the last point about this is it's really important that we don't overreach. A lot of lawyers in the room are the first ones to push back on these type of standards because they create legal liabilities when companies talk about them, and because they frankly diminish to a lowest common denominator when you require companies to report things that really aren't meaningful material to them. So we have to work and talk to regulators on how to come about this together. So in my view, business and you all, lawyers who are going to be regulators, who are going to be litigators, who are going to be people working and advising businesses, young people, the students and others, think about this. Think about how you can contribute to the discussion of what the future of business should be. My ask is that you listen, keep an open mind, and build stakeholder ideas into the directions of company. As lawyers and people engaged in public affairs and business, we should applaud the idea that stakeholder engagement is a critical principle of business, just as important as financial advisors. You can add incredible value and insights into this platform as trusted advisors. Business and the legal community must lead. Companies that are not attuned to the movement face an existential threat. Stakeholder capitalism does mitigate risk and create sustainable prosperity, two of the most important things a business can focus on. It's a potent and essential formula for corporate sustainability and social cohesion, which must go hand in hand. It's an important platform to bring us all together as opposed to tearing us apart. And by the way, our license to lead could depend on it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark. Congratulations to all of our Alumni Award winners this evening. We have now reached the conclusion of this year's Alumni and Faculty Dinner. We hope to see you at some of the other events through the weekend. On behalf of the Law Alumni Association and the law school itself, thank you for being here with us. Enjoy the evening.